Hello, welcome to a Gamasutra video interview. Today I'm talking to Bryann Sigurgeirsson. Did I get that right? That was worse than all of my other attempts. So apologies. Yeah, from Image and Form, who you might know as the guys behind SteamWorld Dig, which is this rather lovely game that you can see just here. So what I wanted to just first talk to you about, Bryann, was just Image and Form in general, because the chances are that a lot of people will have heard of you guys first from this game, essentially. So, I mean, what have you guys sort of been up to before this game and you know, in your area, essentially?
Yeah, all right. Hi, everybody. I'm Bryann Sigurgeirsson, or Bryann Sigurgeirsson, as some people pronounce it. Before we made the SteamWorld Dig that we released in August for the Nintendo 3DS first. We were a PC Mac kids game developer for a very long time, and then we moved into mobile development in 2009, 2010, and we actually released a really excellent game called Until on iOS that was actually selected by Apple as Game of the Week when we launched it. And then we sort of kept throwing around mobile game ideas, but we really wanted to sort of make real games as well, if you like. I mean, I don't want to say that mobile games are not real games,
Yeah.
but we really wanted to try to do something that was for consoles, for something other than just for the casual crowd on mobile. So yeah, that's sort of what led up to SteamWorld and SteamWorld Dig.
Okay, so yeah, for people wondering, this is SteamWorld Dig that I'm playing. Apologies if it looks a little choppy, it's not the game. Believe me, it runs super lovely. It's just the recording tools I'm using, I think. So, I was going to ask you, essentially, has the success of this game sort of taken you by surprise in terms of, you know, where you're up to compared to what people are saying about this?
In one sense, it sort of took us by surprise, because we spent some 8 months or something developing the game from October 2012 till June 2013. And when you sit in game development for such a concentrated period of time, and for us it was a long period of time, then you sort of think that you sort of start to lose your reference to the game. You don't really know if it's good or if it's great or if it's even bad. It's you're sort of so close to the screen, or your nose is so close to the glass that it's sort of hard to tell after a while. And so we were a little bit surprised that critics were so unanimous about it. It seems like everybody really loves this game, and that was sort of a surprise, and that made us decide very quickly to sort of expand on it and see if we could take it to other platforms as well.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, was the original plan to have a PC version, or was it simply based on sort of the how people were responding to the 3DS version?
It was sort of it was a dream to have it to have the game come to Steam. It was when we released Until for iOS, since that was also very critically acclaimed. People just loved that game, and so we thought, okay, that's good. Then we'll just put that on Steam, and then we'll sell even more copies. And we were so surprised when we got a rejection letter from Valve for the Steam version of Until that. And it was so immaculate too. The rejection letter was basically it was just a wall. It was a very short letter, and it was like, "Thank you. We looked at the game. We don't want it. Please don't ever write to us again." And so we were like, "Is there any way that we can get this onto Steam?" And then we sort of resigned. And then when we made SteamWorld Dig, we tried again, and then we got an immediate approval letter instead. It was just, "Yeah, this looks great. Of course we want it on Steam. So please, we've set it all up. Just tell us when you're ready with the development."
So, I mean, why do you think that was? Do you think it's because it was a mobile game, the Anthill one, or do you think it's more like the press talk more about sort of, you know, console and handheld games than mobile games, and therefore the people at Steam sort of noticed it more?
I think so. It's I mean, you have such a short time period where you can flaunt your game on mobile, because everything is happening so quickly, and there are so many thousand games coming out every day. So I think it sort of gets lost very, very quickly. And also with SteamWorld Dig, critics have been talking about the game as being a possible handheld Game of the Year contender, and that sort of has an impact, I think. I believe that the people at Valve have sort of tapped into that a little bit. I mean, they must have read it somewhere that this game is quite possibly one of the very best games made this year.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, they heard about it, and they read a lot of good things about it, and then it sort of made it easy for them to decide to go with this game.
Yeah, I mean, would you have just, you know, if you sort of hadn't got that sort of response from them, would you have bothered with Greenlight, or would you have just sort of gone on it on your own on PC?
I don't know. I think actually we would have tried to go with Greenlight, just because we think it's a really good game, and it would be. We have gotten such a fantastic response from the 3DS community, and it would sort of feel like some sort of loss if not more people get a chance to play it, because it's unrealistic to believe that people are going to go out and buy a 3DS just because they want to play SteamWorld Dig. So it's sort of, the mountain is not going to come to Muhammad. I mean, Muhammad has to trek to the mountain.
Yeah.
And so we would probably have tried with a Greenlight process. Yeah.
Okay. And
so you're doing the game here, actually, Mike. Have you played this before?
Oh, I've played it. I've played it a couple of times before. Yeah, I think so. I think I remember it sometime. Have you, when it actually came to porting the game, how tricky was that? Because honestly, I was surprised there was a PC version. I mean, not surprised from why would they do a PC version point of view. It was more like it was a 3DS game, and I thought, well, if they're gonna port it, it's gonna be ages before it's on anything else. I mean, how easy or difficult was it to port from 3DS to PC?
Yeah, there were a number of things. Obviously, there is. I mean, first, it's not only coming to PC; it's coming to PC, Mac, and Linux or Linux. So yeah. There's been a number of issues there. But one thing that we had going for us is that we draw everything in all the graphics are vector graphics. So, sort of going from the from the 400 pixel wide 3DS screen to full HD. If it had been all pixel graphics, it would have taken us. We would have had to redraw everything. Now, many of the things here we could scale up, but obviously we had to animate them again and so on. Yeah. So it's been very, very intense work. I think we got. I think maybe it was a month or so after release. So maybe in the beginning of September somewhere, we heard from Valve that that we welcome on Steam. And so we sort of, at that point, we actually halted the development of the next SteamWorld game that is coming out, and focused entirely on making the Steam version, so the PC Linux version. And there are some other problems as well. Like you say, it's a 3DS game. The 3DS has this fabulous feature of having dual screens, where you see the game action on one screen, and you can keep all the stats and the shots and so on the bottom screen. That obviously we had to sort of rethink everything there, and but I think we've succeeded quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like when I was coming to play this PC version, I was thinking like, oh, you know, was it going to be notable how you'd sort of managed to cram it onto one screen? But actually, I've sort of found that I've forgotten how the 3DS version looked. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was so notable that you'd moved it across and it didn't work, then my brain would have been saying, oh god, no, that looked so much better on the 3DS. But I can't, like, the fact that I can't really tell what the change has been probably is a really good thing, I would say. That's probably the nicest thing you could say, because we don't want the PC version, let's just call it that for simplicity's sake. We don't want the PC version to feel like just a straight port, and that you would sort of miss things or think that, oh yeah, they've crammed it together this way. We want people to pick this game up on Steam and just feel that, oh, this is a perfect PC game, or a perfect Mac game, or what have you. So and I feel that it really is that. If anything, I'm just amazed at how wonderful it looks and plays. It's just it's gorgeous, I think. And there are a lot of small details that you couldn't make out on 3DS. And I mean that's the reality of the 3DS, is that it has some other great virtues that make it a great platform, but you don't really get the small details on the 3DS. I mean, for one thing, just if you can stand still with Rusty there for a second, one thing that I actually didn't notice when I was playing the 3DS version was the exhaust pipe on his back. It's actually quite obvious in the PC version, but on the 3DS it was sort of just a little quirk. I thought I actually didn't notice that the exhaust was coming out that way. So it's funny that you get so much more detail, and it's so vivid and so on. Yeah, I mean, it's the funny thing about the 3DS, really, isn't it? It's a bit like it's a lovely platform, and I love my 3DS. I maybe didn't at first, but now it's actually got some games I do.
Yeah.
But it really, like, I'll pick that up and then I'll pick the Vita up, especially the Vita, and I'll be like, well, the difference is just it's shocking, really. Like the 3DS, it feels like graphically it's just so far behind everything else. And
right.
you kind of think, well, does it really need to be? Do you know what I mean? It's very strange.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. At the same time, it's so, when you play SteamWorld Dig on the 3DS, it's just so immersive. The time just disappears because you're so into that little thing that you're holding in your hands. And I was worried about that when we made the PC version. Was it going to be as immersive, or will you be sort of looking around your living room while you're playing the game? That's luckily, I feel it's the same that way. But it was really a wow feeling I got from playing on the 3DS. It's so immersive.
Yeah. So, with regards to platforms, then, so you've just finished this up, I'm guessing, and I guess you'll be sort of spending the next few weeks or more, sort of with this. But in terms of you guys now working on other stuff and working on other platforms, now that you're sort of in there with Steam, I guess, are you now thinking, well, we'll see how the PC version does, and if it does well, we'll sort of move towards PC now, or are you still sort of thinking we're going to be 3DS people?
Well, that's a very good question, and probably a little bit longer answer. It's when we made it for the 3DS, it was sort of we viewed ourselves as a mobile developer that made a game for the 3DS, and then we when we made it for the 3DS and encountered the 3DS community and Nintendo as a company, it was very easy for us to sort of decide that, okay, let's face it, guys, we're not primarily a mobile developer anymore. We should just be a game developer trying to make games for consoles where it makes sense to release our games. And we've got the response we got from the community and Nintendo was so amazing that we've just a few weeks after we released the 3DS version, we promised the community that the next SteamWorld game is definitely coming to the 3DS. So it's a promise that we intend to keep. I mean, if we decide now that we've sort of become too important or too big for the 3DS, then I think we'll lose a lot in the process. Those people have been fantastic to us, and so we definitely are going to make it for the 3DS. But maybe for the next game, we will sort of try to be more of a real game development studio, and see if we can't develop for more platforms from day one.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I guess as well, one thing you guys are now trying to do is sort of carry the momentum of this game over into the next stuff you do, because, you know, once you've kind of grabbed the limelight, it's a pretty good idea to try and keep it. I mean, what have you got any sort of plans in the way of, right, this is something we need to aim for to sort of keep people following us, essentially keep people thinking like, oh, we have to see the next game from the studio now?
Well, that's a great question too, Mike. It's obviously people who love SteamWorld Dig, and I've yet to encounter someone who thought it was crap. From all of those people that bother to sort of send us a Twitter message or something, that almost everybody says can't wait for the sequel or the next game. And we've realized that SteamWorld is a very, very interesting franchise because it's so open. Where maybe the people who make, say, Call of Duty, it would be very strange if they decided to make their next game a tower defense game. The next Call of Duty would be it has to be a first-person shooter. But for us, we feel that we can really decide for ourselves what genre the next SteamWorld game will be. The important thing is to keep the universe and the characters, I think. Yeah. Maybe not the exact characters that you see in SteamWorld Dig, but sort of keep it in the robot vein and sort of keep expanding on it. Come up with a little bit more of the story, how this strange world came about, where the friendly robots are the master race and the human lowlifes are just bad guys. Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting for us as well to expand on it. And just this morning we were discussing one of the games. I think we pretty much have the sequel thought out for SteamWorld Dig, and we also have another game that is going to be the very next game, the very next SteamWorld game. We have those figured out, but today we sort of discussed yet another SteamWorld game that just sounds so interesting. I think the terrible thing that happened to us when we released Antil was that we immediately jumped onto something else, tried to sort of realize some other ideas, because it was pretty hard to expand on this insect universe that you have in Antil. But with SteamWorld, we've sort of decided that we're going to stick to this for a while now and make really great games in the series.
Excellent. Right, well, that's probably a good place to stop. So yeah, thanks very much. So the SteamWorld Dig on PC is out. Is it 5th December?
It's tomorrow. Yeah. Well, it depends on when you air this, but it's 5th of December. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. So you should pick this game up because it's a bit good, basically. So thanks very much for talking to me, and good luck with the future stuff as well. I'm well looking forward to checking it out.
Thank you very much. And just to anybody out there, we sort of tend to throw out hints and so on what we're doing on Twitter. So if you want to follow us, it's the @imageform. We'd love to talk to you guys, and we make a point of talking to everybody who talks to us. So we're not too big for anybody.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Cheers, Mike Rose.
Mike Rose.